everybody. I'm back. Happy New Year. This is Alita Hernandez from Rebooted Mindset. I had last year was a rough year for me. I moved, a lot of changes, like dramatically, fast and everything like that. So I like spaced out for a little while, honestly. A lot of stress. My body just went, shut down. Don't do nothing because you can't. So you got to listen to your body. So that's one thing we're going to talk about today. Today we have a guest. She's an author, and hopefully I said her name right. Is Joelle Kaufman, and she just wrote a book. I think I didn't say it right, but she'll let me know. So she wrote a book because she's experienced this firsthand when it comes to breast cancer. At 13 years old, her mother was diagnosed with breast cancer, and then she became a caregiver to her. And in turn, her sister landed up getting cancer, and then landed up, I think she got cancer. So that's a lot. Okay. Just one person's enough, but to have three people in one family, that's rare. That's a rare thing, but well, maybe not. We'll see. But I did look up some statistics. And before I wanted to say that her book is called Crushing the Cancer Curveball, a playbook for the newly diagnosed and their family and friends, which I think is so important because I think a lot of times we forget about the family, the caregiver, because everybody's concentrating on taking care of the person who's ill, right? So now nobody's taking care of the other people, and then in turn they can get ill. So it is a curveball, and it's also a how would you call it? The circle. It's just so tight, when it comes to that. And as you guys know, take care of my mom and my aunt. Both have memory issues that I see on a gradual basis. Little things they're forgetting that might not be a big thing to you, but just to forget if you ate lunch when you ate lunch 5 minutes ago, or if I went for a walk, things like that. I mean, just little things that you go, wow. So it's a lot of work, and I think that's why I kind of had to shut down a little bit. So I wasn't doing my podcast every week, but I'm back strong, trying to help myself and taking things, like I said, it's never too late to reboot your mindset. So that's exactly what I had to do. I had to refocus and understand what's important, and certain things you can't change. So you have to kind of go with the flow in a way. You have to be able to kind of adjust yourself. So I can't change that my aunt's losing her memory because she has a sickness, and there's nothing that can be done. So I try to, I cook every day, try to get, good food from home, nothing processed, things like that. Eliminate all the garbage. I even bake. I don't even buy anything. I bake, and I bake with different, I use monk fruit. I don't use sugar. Like I try to be as healthy as I can be, and once you change your mindset, how you address things, like how do you address, for example, she forgot something, and then after the fourth or fifth time that she's asked me the same question, I get frustrated. I don't know how she feels. She must be even more frustrated because she doesn't even know what's going on. So I get frustrated and I get heated, and then I feel bad if I raise my voice to her. It's like, it's not her fault. She can't remember. So I've had to change my mindset, going, I know she can't remember. So why stress? Why am I stressing over this? I go. So then I just buy her. I buy her. Sometimes I give her a little candy that she likes, her favorite candy. I buy once a while, and then when those moments, I'm like, here, look what I got for you. She's like, oh, thank you, and everything's like nothing happened. So you make a good moment of it. So just a little advice for me, just things that I go through. But anyway, I'm going to bring some great things to you this year. I already have I got a whole bunch of emails already. Okay. It's the first week of the year, and my inbox is going cuckoo. So be patient with me, guys, because there's so many of them. But there's some great things out there. We're going to talk about things like nanoplastics in our water, and things that you have to be really careful. And it's really hard to be healthy, okay? Because our society has made it so difficult, because at least me personally, I feel there's really no regulation on these additives that they put in our foods, or basically anything that's processed. Like, why aren't they governing that? And then half of the stuff causes you cancer, and the stuff that you're giving your children causes cancer. Okay. And, people think like, oh, you're so extreme. No, you want to stay healthy. I'm going to have a woman come in right now talking about the struggles of cancer. This is real. I know too many people have passed away. Okay. And it makes me, I want to cry because I just can't, I mean, we're going to be talking about breast cancer, but there's a lot of other cancers out there too that are really bad. And I was looking on some statistics here, and basically, in the U.S. as of 22, what I looked up, they said estimated 850,000 new cases of breast cancer. There's just breast cancer. I didn't even put the other stuff, right? Over 43,000 deaths, estimated deaths in that year, and then worldwide, 2.3 million cases worldwide of breast cancer. That's a lot of cancer. Okay, so worldwide we got 670,000 people. Okay, and they have other stuff here that they talk about, but it's really difficult. And I mean, I went through a little scare one time about 20 years ago, and they found a little lump on my breast. So, but let me tell you, they scared the heck out of me so much that I said, why would you do that? And they go, oh, we have to. I go, no, I don't think so. I don't think so. It's the first time, I got diagnosed and I had like a little tiny bump, and they made it so extreme. Oh, you gotta get the biopsy. I mean, for like a month, I couldn't eat. I was so scared that I had cancer because they ingrained in me, it's probably cancer. So, get prepared for it. And I'm like, but you haven't even seen the biopsy. How do you tell me that, I don't know. That was a little extreme. It was really scary. And thank God it was nothing. Thank God. So, but, I guess people, they have to work on their bedside manner, I think she'll know what I'm talking about. But anyway, let's bring in our guest and let's discuss this new book that she has written to help us out there for those people suffering with cancer or your loved ones are. So let me. I feel like I'm off kilter because I haven't been online. And where's my clapping? Hello. Hello there.
Hello.
How are you today?
Hello. I
So
am
this.
fantastic.
So how do you say your name correctly?
Joelle Kaufman.
Joelle Kaufman. Okay, I was fighting with I have this thing between Spanish and English. It's really I've never been
I
good at
get it.
it.
I get it. I used to live in Brazil, and in Brazil, it said Joelle, and
Okay.
so I'm pretty flexible. Just call. I'm okay.
Call me Jay, whatever.
Whatever. Whatever.
Exactly. So I'm happy to have you here. Thank you for
Thank
joining
you.
our show today.
Hmm.
And it caught my eye because I've known so many people with cancer. As you heard, I was talking about that. So tell me a little bit about yourself. I know it says here you at 13 years old you found out about your mother having breast cancer. So how was that?
Oh, well, when I was 13, it was shocking. Like, that's the best word to describe it. My mother was 36. My mother was healthy, like you wouldn't believe. She's a tennis champion. She's, just a vibrant, healthy. She doesn't smoke. She doesn't particularly drink. This is not somebody who's living a life of any kind of risk. And she just was in the shower and she felt a lump. And it's not like her mother had had breast cancer and or her grandmother or like what have you. But my mom was very proactive. She goes to the doctor and they do the mammogram and they said, yeah, we want to take that out. And they said, based on what it looks like, we suspect it's cancer, but we also suspect it's early, and a surgical treatment should be enough. And they offered her, do you want a lumpectomy? Do you want a mastectomy? And, you got to love my mother. She's a true warrior. She said, oh, take the breast. I want to be here for 50 years. I got girls to raise. I got life to live. And she said, like, that's what drove her. She's like, she has two girls, her daughters. She loves my dad too. Don't get me wrong. But she's like, I'm not going to miss this. Do what you got to do. But that was a shock. I was 13. I didn't know anybody whose parent had faced cancer. And like everyone else, when I hear cancer, I think about what you see in Love Story or what you see in Terms of Endearment, which was actually after this. But, the stories of cancer are always so sad
Yeah.
and they're so tragic. I'm like, my. So I went to school because what else were we going to do? And I went to the library and I'm reading. I'm, 13 years old. I'm reading. And basically, if you do a little research, even in 1983, they said early stage breast cancer, pretty treatable. So I said, oh, all right, this is going to suck for a little bit and then it's going to be fine. And, one of the benefits of being a kid, right? You're like, okay. So then when I was 15 and a half, it came back. And I will say that was really what shook me to the core because that wasn't supposed to happen. That meant chemo, that meant radiation. I mean, that actually meant a lot more. And my mom's a trooper and we did what we had to do, but it was very isolating. It was very lonely. She did lose her hair. Her face got puffy. It was all the things that you would see if you made a television show or a movie of somebody going through cancer. And it was I felt very alone. She felt very alone. My parents felt, everybody felt alone. Well, fast forward, by the time I'm in college, I'm starting to recognize that this isn't as uncommon an experience as I thought. And having lived through it, and my mother having lived through it, I had what those of us in the cancer world will call the cancer filter. So, I'm sure you went through this with your own health things. You start to get very clear on what's a big deal and what's mice nuts. And most things are mice nuts, right? And so I just was able to deal with setbacks or disappointments. I had a lot of perspective because, hey, we're alive and we don't have cancer. It's a good day. And you make healthy choices. You try to make healthy choices about how you eat, how you exercise, how you live, because you'd like to make it as two things: give as little opportunity to develop cancer. And if you get it, be as strong as possible so you can endure and obliterate it. When I was in my 20s, I realized that they announced the BRCA1 gene. And I said, perhaps that's what we have. I don't know why. And, just went on with my life. And then when I was 33, I'm 40 weeks pregnant with my second child. My sister is going to get married in 3 months in Mexico. And she's diagnosed with breast cancer, having just done an Ironman. I mean, again, the height of health. She's 29 years old, right? This is, the world stops spinning.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I actually, and so that experience, and then there's a lot more of them. My sister also endured. She got married in the middle of chemotherapy. We all wore wigs in solidarity, and it was a moment of love. And I do want to tell everybody out there, my mother's a 40-year survivor and my sister's a 20+ year survivor. So yes.
Awesome.
Right? And blessings, and very, very grateful. But we realized with my sister's cancer, they did the genetic test, and lo and behold, she's BRCA1. My mother's BRCA1. And was I going to get tested? I said, well, when I'm prepared to do something with the data, I'll get tested. In the meanwhile, I earned my frequent flyer pass to mammograms, ultrasounds, and MRIs. But I'm thankful. Alita, you shared some of your history with me. What I was at risk for, the biggest thing I was at risk for, is not preventable, but highly detectable. And that's and highly treatable. So the part of the reason I wrote the book, Crushing the Cancer Curveball, and you showed in your statistics, but the vast majority of people diagnosed with breast cancer are going to be just fine. It's going to suck and it's going to impact your body and the treatment's no fun, but you're going to live and you can live great full lives. even in the book, I interviewed a number of people that are stage 4, which is metastatic breast cancer, and their survival rates are nowhere near as good. And they're living incredible, full, rich lives because we've advanced treatment so far that they can manage the disease for a really long time. And those are things to keep in mind. Like, nobody wants cancer, but cancer isn't the end of the road or the journey. And so fast forward, there's now been, 10 different episodes, 9 different episodes of cancer. I'm very good at dealing with it as a caregiver. I know the questions to ask. I know what to expect. And I finally decided that I would have a bilateral mastectomy prophylactically.
Mm.
Right? Because basically I was strong, I was healthy, and I knew that if I got cancer, that was the treatment path I was going to take. So they screen you before that surgery just to make sure there's no cancer. And I drew the short straw.
Oh,
And I was diagnosed the day before my surgery with a
wow.
9 millimeter tumor.
Wow, and you were going to go just to do it because your mother and sister had it. So you said, let me just do it anyway. So before that, what is that gene you said? I wanted to ask about that. What is that gene that causes
Yeah.
cancer?
Well, my particular gene is BRCA1, BRCA1. It was one of the earliest mutations identified when they sequenced the genome. And it happens to be higher incidence in 2 populations. So those 2 populations are Ashkenazi Jewish women, so women whose families were in Eastern Europe after we left the Middle East, and African American women.
Wow.
Now, this gene, for me, my version of it, carried an 80% lifetime probability of breast cancer. So, this wasn't really an if, it was more of a when. And I was pretty excited because by the time I was going to have the prophylactic, I think I was 52 years old. Like,
Wow.
I made it way further
Yeah.
than my mother or my sister. I nursed 3 children with these boobs, or, well, the old
Yeah.
ones. These aren't
Yeah.
these, not these. These are the replacements. Um,
Yeah, at least you got good ones now.
the old ones were good until they tried to kill me, and then they gotta go. Um, so so I literally I had this gene. I knew I had this gene. Every medical professional I ever met knew about me and the gene, and everybody was watching for this tiny little tumor, because when cancer's tiny little, all types of cancer, when they're tiny little,
You can get rid
are
of it.
pretty easy to deal with. The problem
Right.
is there's a bunch of cancers that you can't find when they're tiny little.
Yeah, and they don't really, they when you go to the doctor, you know how they're very how do you call the word? They segregate everything. So if it's the breast, then it's the breast. They don't look at anything else. So I'm the worst person to go to the doctor because I'm always telling them, look, if I have a problem with one thing, that's connected to the other one and this one. So why are you checking the other two? Because they all go hand in hand, and they look at me like, because it's true. They waste my time. Oh, go get this MRI. Go get this scan. Oh, you got to go back now because you forgot. Because I told you before and you didn't want to do it. Now I got to go back again.
Yeah, it's tricky. I mean, the body is complicated, and
It is.
the body is strong, and a lot of people I've talked to about cancer, and I've
Mhm.
interviewed I interviewed over 25 people and included 12 different stories in the book. Um, but a lot of people say, well, why? Like, why did I get cancer? Now, I was pretty lucky. I knew why. I have a mutation. And if that mutation becomes active,
Right.
my body has a bunch of cells that will run amok. But 90% of breast cancers are not genetic, and they don't know. And I think it's a very unsettling feeling. But what I realized, Alita, was that having been through it so many times, when I was told, sorry, it's malignant, I actually knew what to do and what to expect. I knew how to mobilize the people I needed. I knew how to negotiate effectively to get the care I needed, and how to contain cancer to one part of my life, but not to be my whole life.
Mm.
And as I implemented this approach, the healthcare professionals, as well as my friends and community, but the healthcare professionals kept telling me, you're doing this really differently. And it's actually really good. And it would be great if more people
Wow.
knew how to do this. And again, nobody wants this,
Right.
but 1 out of 2 Americans is going to face it. So either you're going to face it yourself or someone you love is going to face it. And so why don't I take what I've spent a lifetime learning and turn it into a playbook so that if you or someone you love hears that you have cancer, you can grab onto this life ring and say, okay, what does that mean? And what can I do? And let me be clear, Alita, I don't put any medical information in the book. I'm not a doctor. I don't prescribe treatment. I don't even prescribe how to eat other than fuel your body well. Like that's kind of as far as I go is, take care of yourself, exercise. But cancer is complicated, but there are so many things you can do as the patient and as the people who love the patient to actually own the journey and make the journey as good as it can possibly be.
Right. That's very good. And your book also guides family members. Like, is there a section that kind of helps family members? Because I think a lot of times, like I said before, family members are lost. They're just as
Mhm.
lost as the person with the cancer. They don't know what to do. They don't know how to react, all these emotions. So they're going through the same kind of mourning or whatever you're going through, all these
Mhm.
emotions that you're going through.
Well, Alita, I want to ask you to actually open your aperture here, open your mind. It's not just your family members, it's your colleagues at work, it's your
Mm.
friends. Everybody says, oh, God, that's awful. And then most of them say, "Oh, what do I do next?"
Right.
And there's a chapter in the book about how to be in the dugout, how to be the support team and what to do. And I have a bunch of recommendations and simple things. But the one I embrace the most and I talk about the most is this concept of a happiness tripwire. So, what's a happiness tripwire? It's an inevitable moment that will make you smile.
Mm.
Okay. So, you actually want your life to be full of happiness tripwires. But if you're going through cancer treatment or caring for elderly parents who have memory loss, you actually need to deliberately put happiness tripwires on your path. So, what's a happiness tripwire?
Yes.
Okay. And by the way, this is one of the things that friends and family can do for both patients and caregivers,
Right.
right? So, a happiness tripwire: I'd like to bring you dinner tonight, or I'd like to sign up to bring you dinner so you don't have to cook, or, Alita, you're doing so much. Do you have a grocery list? Could I go to the grocery store for
Oh,
you?
that would be awesome.
Right? And now let me make it even simpler. My sons were in college on the other side of the country when I was going through treatment. We're very close. My daughter was home,
Right.
but they're like, we feel like we can't do anything. And you know what? They can't. They can't do. And even if they were home, they really can't do. They're not doctors. And I didn't need them to cook for me. So I said to my son who plays baseball and couldn't come home, I said, every week when I have an infusion, I would like a letter. Just tell me about your life. And I will open that letter digitally when I'm at the infusion center and I'm just waiting. And it will be digital chocolate and I did 12 infusions. I've got 12 letters
That's
from
all.
my 19-year-old son. Like, tell me who gets a weekly
No.
letter from their son,
No.
right? No.
I have two
So
boys. I know.
what a happiness tripwire. My other son, by the way, was the DJ. He provided music to keep
Oh,
me entertained. Okay. And I gave them those jobs because that was part of them being on this journey with me. But oh, did it make me happy?
That's
And another friend would send me a text every infusion with just emojis of kisses. And what I tell people is if you know someone's going through treatment or you know someone's caring for someone,
mhm.
just send them something to make them smile. It could be a card, it could be a text, it could be, I am thinking of you and sending you love. And that's enough because in that moment, they will smile. And an amazing thing happens when you smile for just a moment. It releases a biological process. And that biological process actually bolsters your immune system.
Mhm.
What do you need when you're facing cancer or any other major health crisis? You need to bolster your immune system.
Yep.
Now, I'm not saying that you should go to a comedy show. I'm saying little tiny doses of happiness. So, anybody who knows people going through cancer or any other health situation is hereby empowered to release happiness tripwires into the universe, share a memory, share a cat meme, share a joke. It doesn't matter. Share something that brings a smile and
Yeah,
says, I'm thinking of you.
that makes so much sense. And it's true. And even as on a normal day, sometimes we're like, oh, it's been a rough day, and I put on a YouTube video of a comedian, something, something just sometimes you just look at the comedian, you start laughing. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Because it's so I'm like, oh, that made my day. I needed that joke today. That kind of thing. So that makes
Right.
sense. And music, you talked about music because
Mhm.
I'm into music entertainment. So we love music. We have music on most of the time here in the house. We
Mhm.
converted our garage into a studio, so that's where I do all my
Wow.
work here. Yeah. So we always got music. And with my mother and my aunt, when I put the music on, they're like, oh, what's that? They come out and I put old school, like 80s, 90s freestyle. And they come out, they start dancing, like no pain. They forgot anything. They're just happy and they're smiling. So it really makes a difference.
It does. And it doesn't take a lot of effort.
No, it
It
doesn't. It really doesn't.
and again, what I recommend is make it a routine, right? It's okay if 5 o'clock is dance party time. Okay,
Right.
then 5 o'clock is dance party time. Let's
Yep.
do it.
Yep. It's true. It's true. So let me see here. What else I'm thinking? So I know you talked about your book. You have separations. I got to glance at it. I just got it yesterday, so I didn't get a chance to couldn't read that fast. But I started doing my skimming, But it's really well put together, and I hope people
Thank you.
enjoy it. And I know you have it on Amazon as well, right?
Yeah, it will be available on Amazon on January 28th. You have an advanced reader copy.
Ah, okay.
And yeah, you're special. And the book is set up. I want people to understand because look, when I started writing it, I'm like, who wants to read this? So first off, the book is not a downer. The book is actually an upper. The book is full of opportunities for hope and laughter and a little bit of incredulous disbelief. But it's set up in 5 sections. So you have prevention, diagnosis, treatment, surgery, and recovery. And in each section, there are chapters. The whole motif, the whole metaphor is a curveball, and you're the batter, right?
Right.
So you never get to pick the pitch, but you get to pick the swing. And so what happens as you go into the batter's box? So each vignette, each chapter has a lessons learned. So you can say, "Oh, I'd like to read the chapter about,
Oh, okay.
screening, but I actually don't want to read the chapter. Just give me the lessons learned. 5 bullets, boom, boom, boom." Or you're even more time constrained. Each of the 5 sections has a summary called Batter Up. And
Oh,
so if you don't want to read anything in prevention, you just want to read Batter Up, that's fine. Or you can go through it chronologically. You can go to the pages that matter. For example, chapter 15 is the dugout chapter. So everyone who isn't the patient and wants to know what to do, go
read
read chapter 15. There's a laundry list of possibilities so that you don't even have to think about it. You can offer. I would love to. I'll use one of my favorites. My kids were grown when I was going through it.
that. Right.
But some of the women I talked to who had children their kids weren't. And one of them said the single biggest gift was people calling and saying, "Can I take your kids for a play date this
Oh,
weekend?" Right?
oh,
So
yeah.
they could, right? And that's not painful or hard. You just grab the kids, everybody has fun, and everyone who's been around kids knows kids with each other are way easier than kids alone.
Yeah, it's true. Because then you have to become
Right?
the other kid that's missing.
Exactly. Exactly. They entertain themselves. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
And so, there's a lot of things in chapter 15. I also, for anybody who wants it, took all the tools I built as I went through it. I built a lot of digital tools to help myself and to share information with my medical team. For example, you have a chemotherapy infusion and they want to know a week later or 3 weeks later, what were the side effects? Like I'm going to remember that. So, like, come on.
Yeah.
First off, who wants to remember that? And like, you don't keep track. But if you actually keep track when they happen, and I
Yeah.
created a Google sheet, I kept track, and then I just shared the sheet. And so I'd go into my appointment. They'd say, "What were your side effects?" I said, "Open the sheet." We'd look at the sheet, and they could do some pattern recognition because
Wow.
they're trained in that, right? So I don't need to remember. So I put a bunch of tools like the side effect tracker, like a financial modeling tool to understand and anticipate what are the financial implications of dealing with cancer. What happens if you have to go on disability or stop working 50% of the time?
Right.
And the reason you want to use that kind of a tool is there's a ton of resources to help if you know you're going to have trouble. If you're already in trouble, that's hard.
Right.
So being able to say, okay, I know that if I have to go down to 50% work and I have less income, hopefully that doesn't put my health insurance at risk. Here's when I need help,
Right.
whether it's with transport, with food, with groceries, with money, like with medication rebates. Like there are options. So I put these tools on joellekaufman.com, and in the book, you'll see it if you look through it. There's QR codes. So if you're reading the book and it's talking about side effects, and you're like, it talks about a side effect tracker. You just go to the QR code and it'll take you to the
That's
side
great.
effect tracker on the resource page, and
That's great.
everything except the interactive workbook, because I built a workbook version so that if you want to download, that's a paid thing, but
Right.
everything else is free.
Right.
So you want the side effect tracker, go get it. um, you know
That's good. That's very good. So you're a very organized person, I guess. You were doing all these tracks. You didn't realize that years go by, and look at that. Now you're going to help everybody with all these things. Who
I
would
hope
think?
so. I mean, you've got to figure 40 years of it's got to be worth something.
Yeah.
And I am organized, and I've been an executive for 25 years. I now develop other executives as their coach in sales and marketing and CEOs. And it's not that you have to be organized. It's that I knew what to expect. And
Mm,
so I could anticipate there's going to be side effects. I need to track them. I'm going to have medications. I need to track what works, what doesn't. I'm
right.
going to need that information because I've been in the room where they asked for it.
Right. Right. And you get to know the names and things like that, which you don't want to, but you land up learning it because you had to go through it yourself. So
And sometimes the names are different. I mean, like I got different medications than my sister because my cancer was 20 years later, and because my cancer was touching a lymph node, I actually was eligible for immunotherapy as well, which is just breathtakingly innovative science. And how we train the immune system to detect and defend against tumors is incredible.
wow. Well, the human body is incredible.
Mhm.
It has a way of regenerating, as if you feed it correctly, and then it starts regenerating. Like your liver, I didn't know this until a little
Yeah.
while ago that I found out if your liver goes, you can get a piece of somebody's liver and it'll actually grow to size. I'm like, what?
Yeah. I believe the liver is the only organ that does that.
Yes, this is the only
Yeah.
one. It's
Yeah.
incredible. It's
It is
incredible.
incredible. but the whole body, and I had very major surgery because I had what's called a deep flap reconstruction, which means, and this is really cool, Lita, they actually used belly fat to construct my breasts.
Oh.
So there's no implants here. This is all me.
Oh, wow, that's great.
Yeah,
So
it
that's new.
is. It is relatively new. It's been around for probably about 25 years, but
Oh,
it's a longer surgery and has fewer side effects if you're eligible for it, which I had enough belly fat to be eligible. You know
after
what
the
I'm
kids.
saying, right?
Yeah, after the
You know what
kids.
I'm saying,
Yeah, good. Take
right?
it. Take it.
Exactly. I'll do a
Give
tummy
me a
tuck.
teacup, okay?
Exactly. Like, how much can we make here? What are we working with?
Exactly.
All right. And so now you do lose sensation, and like it does have impacts, on how you see yourself as a woman and sexuality, and I don't know how PG or R-rated your audience is, but it's not without implications, shall we say?
Right,
But
right. Yeah, we could talk
but
about that. It's more an adult show because that's another thing. Well, that's the thing that people have to understand too. You're going through this cancer, you're going through chemo, radiation, any kind of treatment you're going through, it's going to affect you your whole body. So, and I
yeah,
don't think really at that time you're kind of very sexual when you're like going through all this stuff. So, I don't
well,
think
but you do, but let's challenge that. Because, you know, in a cancer treatment, you're talking about, my chemo was 12 weeks, my surgery, 6 weeks. I will say, like, post surgery, you're not feeling particularly amorous because your body hurts. But
right.
when you're going through chemotherapy, for me, I actually craved the physical comfort of intimacy. Like, it was nice to feel loved, to feel wanted, and to be able to love and want. And it can be a beautiful distraction. Talk about a happiness tripwire. I
Yeah, that's
mean,
true.
seriously, right?
You get all
And
pain when you're in the moment.
exactly, exactly. And, being able, yeah, when you have a mastectomy, you do have to re-explore your body because parts that had sensation are truly, they're numb, they're devoid, and other parts pick up the slack, if you will. And so
Right.
you have to discover, as I'm sure you went through with your
Oh
health
yeah.
issues, like, there's a rediscovery, and you can make that a setback and be sad. Or, look, I've been married for, God, 26 years. So something new to explore and figure out, that's kind of can be a good thing too.
Yeah, exactly.
So, the healthcare professionals will encourage you. If you feel like being intimate, you should be intimate, and in whatever way that works for you, because
Right.
this is about your own happiness, your own joy, and so I think we should be able to talk about that. That's a normal part of life.
Yeah, it is, and I know that's a hard part, hard to talk with, especially with your partner. Depending on how you are with your partner, that they might be scared too. You don't want to
Yeah.
hurt the person, so there's a lot of emotions going on there on both sides. But
Yes.
love always conquers everything, doesn't it? So
And love and communication, like,
yes,
so we have to talk. And so I encourage, in the book, one of the things that I tell people is, if you can, tell everyone. And I want to be clear, Alita, I hate pity. Like, I do not want to be pitied. I never felt sick, right?
mm,
I worked out throughout my treatment. I kept exercising, lifting heavy weights, doing, riding the bike. I mean, I wanted to keep living. So I didn't want to be pitied. But people needed to know what was going on, because sometimes I was off, or sometimes I had to cancel things.
mm,
And, I needed people to know that if they were remotely ill, like a sniffle, and they wanted to come visit me, they shouldn't. Like, let's do it over Zoom, that my health, my immune system was compromised. And so I needed them to be respectful of that. So I had to
yeah,
tell them. And so I did. But I also told them, I need happiness. I need love. Here's what I like to eat. And I'm not scared. If I am scared, I'll tell you, but I'm not scared. I'm resilient. I'm strong. I'm going to obliterate this thing.
Yeah.
And I mean, my one of my friends gave me socks. It's like cancer messed with the wrong bitch.
You need those things, right? Because it makes you laugh. It makes you more resilient. We're a warrior, right? We're warriors.
We do.
Any kind of illness that you go through, I mean, it's made me stronger. And sometimes so, I mean, there are days that I don't want to get out of bed. Okay, there are some days I'm just tired. That happens, but the next day I'm like, oh, okay, let's go. I'm gonna do it.
Exactly, exactly. And we got to listen to our bodies. We got to respect the messages they're telling us. And the thing for me, I had that major surgery, and because I ate well, exercised, and am very lucky, I was able to recover from that surgery with very only Tylenol and ibuprofen.
That's
I
good.
didn't have to take any heavier painkillers. Now, that's luck. And, exercise. I know you're big on the mindset, but, I've been doing exercise that forces my body to stress itself and then recover. And that's teaching your body to recover. Well, it turns out when you have surgery, your body needs to know how to recover.
Yes. Yes. I've had some minor surgery, so I know. And I do want to mention my aunt Alba, who's 85. She just turned 85 in December. She had breast cancer in 2005, and she has, a little larger breast. So it was really fortunate and a blessing that they found it, because it was on the wall of the breast,
Mm.
all the way
Mhm.
back there, really. So it was really good, caught by the doctors, and they got it out. And thank God she never got it again. And it's been what, it's
Great.
25, 20
20
years
years.
now. 20
20
years. Oh
years.
wow, it was really like 20 years. And
Yes.
yeah, when she got diagnosed, my uncle got diagnosed with some other form of cancer. I don't know if it was stomach or
Mm.
intestinal. So, and they were both at the same time, which was really hard. And I can remember some of it because I'm finding out now that sometimes when too much trauma, things like this happen, I think I shut down or something, because
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
don't remember. But I know
That's okay.
it was a really difficult time because he had cancer and she had breast cancer. So we're like, oh my God. So they both had surgery, and then he was fine for a little while, but then he got it again and unfortunately passed
I'm
away.
sorry.
So I've seen the thank you. I've seen the what chemo does, and all the radiation, and I guess the state of his cancer was so bad. He was 85 pounds when he passed.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, look, it's there's lots, you got to remember though, there's lots of different types of chemotherapy, and there's lots of new and innovative things happening in radiation. And
mm,
so it's awful when we're at the place of cancer where we're throwing everything we can at it. I remember that with my grandmother's cancer, and they knew it was terminal, and the question was, does she want to continue treatment? And that's a really personal and challenging question, right? Because you know
it's
you want, can I, how much time can I get? They don't know. And what will that time be like?
right.
So, my grandmother, when she was diagnosed with cancer, she was 98 years old. Bless her heart. And they didn't even know. They knew it was an abdominal cancer, but they said, we're not going to do exploratory surgery because you probably won't survive the surgery.
Yeah.
Um, and she looked at them, and my dad and her looked at the doctors, and they said, keep her comfortable, but we're not going to treat this because the treatment for her at 98 was
Yeah.
going
No,
to be too toxic.
yeah.
And, she, unlike, my mother when she was 36, or my sister when she was 29, or even
Right.
me in my 50s, I was like, bring it. Whatever you got, bring it. That's different when you're older.
Yeah.
And, my grandmother, actually, the one that declined treatment, she got to say goodbye the way she wanted, and with her dignity, her strength, her health, and it was very fast. I think she kind of decided this is going to go quickly, and then it did. So I think we have to be careful. Like, not all chemo is terrible. This is my hair post chemo, so I clearly did not lose my hair.
I know you got a good head of
I
hair.
got a lot of hair. Now, I used cold capping, and I talk about that in the book. I used cold capping, which kept my scalp just above freezing when I got chemotherapy. And for me, it preserved the vast majority of my hair.
Well,
Um, yeah. Now, had I needed additional chemo, the more severe chemos, it's less effective. So just because it worked for me doesn't mean it'll work for
right,
everybody. It depends, but
right.
you can try. You can try stuff, right? And I knew because I'd seen it with other family members, when hair falls out, it grows back.
I cut mine on the side, so I know that it's long.
Very, very, yeah. No, it's
It's
so
just
I
back
think that
here.
it's, yeah. No, I think it's really important though for people to know that like the story of how awful cancer can be. I mean, that's a possibility, but you know, there's a lot of other possibilities. And, I was never sick. I didn't lose my hair. So I was like the luckiest person on earth. I almost named the book Lucky Girl, but that seemed like it might be a little too self-serving. Um, but you can crush the curveball, which doesn't necessarily mean your cancer is going to go away or not, but it does mean you have a choice about how you go through this experience. And if you're going to be mad and sad, then be mad and sad. That's okay. And at some point, you're going to have to decide, how do I want to spend the time I'm I've got?
Right,
And
exactly,
we want to spend the time we've got with people we love, hopefully doing things that make us smile for a moment.
exactly. Enjoy those. Joe, that you have to enjoy every day. We don't. Tomorrow's not granted. I would say tomorrow's not granted. Today is. We got today. We're alive. We're breathing. We don't know when we go to bed at night. I mean, that's the truth because we don't know what our time is, or how long we're going to be on this earth.
Well, in
So,
my in my religious tradition, we actually say a prayer in the morning, which is basically thank you for breathing life into me for the start of this day.
yeah. Yep.
So,
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different religions, Christian, Catholic, that we also pray and we do things like that. And having hope and having faith is a big part of your survival. I know there's some people don't believe in things, but they have to believe in something. I always say people have something they have to believe in, even if you don't believe in anything. There's something. I mean, I don't know, but
believe in science. If
yes,
that's what,
exactly.
like whatever, I don't think it's for
Like
any of
help you.
us to tell someone, like I had people on my journey who, are of different faiths, and they said, "Can I pray for you?" I said, "Of course. I'll take it from all angles. And if you don't pray, that's okay too. I hope nobody's cursing me. Like that's like
Exactly. As long as you don't curse me, you're good. Exactly. I'm saying that whatever way you express your, giving good energy or sending healing, you know what I mean? There's so many different ways. Oh, did I
yeah.
lose you? Okay.
Just for a moment. I'm back.
Okay. Okay. So, but yeah, no, this is very insightful, and I hope that everybody that's been watching or sees the replay, that they go get the book, Crushing the Cancer Curveball, and you can go to your website. Did you have it on? Yeah, you have it on your website. So,
Yep,
Joelle,
JoelleKaufman.com. And the book comes out on January 28th. And buy it for your library, buy it for a friend. I really hope that in that moment where everyone feels like, oh my God, I wish this wasn't happening to you, and I wish there was something you can do, that people say, wait,
wait,
I can at least give you this book, or I can read this book and be as helpful, and maybe be a source of happiness tripwires to make
exactly,
your journey just a little bit easier. That's great.
exactly, exactly. I know a person. I don't know what kind of cancer she has, but I know she's going through it. So, I thought of her, and I said maybe I'll get the book for her, just to give her a little bit to read when she goes.
Well, and send her some happiness.
Exactly, exactly. Cook a
So
plate of food or something. I'm good cooking, so I'll bring some good baked goods or something. Yeah,
you would want to ask, would
yeah.
you like,
Ask for allergies. Yeah,
and ask if she'd like that. Like one of the things that, again, having been through it so many times, there are times where your refrigerator is so full and your kitchen is so full, and you can't consume all of it. So you want to ask, I would love to bring you something delicious. When and what do you want? Right. And if they say, oh,
Yeah.
I'd love something delicious for Sunday after church.
Okay. Okay.
Great. I want to bring you and make sure when you come home, if you're a churchgoer, you come home, there's something delicious waiting for you just to bring happiness to your
Yeah.
day.
That is awesome. That is gives me the goosebumps. I'm telling you. Kindness. Hey, we're starting February's love. I started my our magazine just came out, so we're talking the month of love because our magazine publishes January, February, 2 months. And that's it. Being kind, please,
Yeah.
everybody. Be kind to another person. You don't know what they're going through. I say that every day driving in South Florida. It's insane. I'm a little further north where it's not so bad now, but that's another thing too. When you're driving out there, you see people in the street or in the store. Sometimes they're angry, they're upset. You don't know what's going on with them.
Right. You
So
don't.
some people, you don't know. They could be sick. They have somebody die. You don't know anything. So you just have to be kind. So I just say hi to people or have a good day. Lately I was like Happy New Year, and make somebody smile. You know.
That's it. Be the source of happiness, and you know, listen. Don't tell people they have to be happy. By the way, I do think it's
Yeah,
important, like things not to tell a cancer patient. You got this. You're going to beat this. You're strong. Stay upbeat. Stay positive. Like, don't tell them how to be. Be with them how they are, and then say, "I care about you. You're important to me," and that's enough.
yeah.
That's
This is
enough.
good. This is
Well,
good.
good.
Oh,
Well, thank
yeah.
you.
No, it really, really was. I pick up things just even from the emails. I start reading some of it, and something resonates with me, and I say, "Oh, I have to have this person on the show," or that kind of thing, because it's so important that these are things we don't talk about. People are so reserved, I guess, or
Mhm.
scared. I guess it's mostly
Mhm.
the scared and the fear of what's going on, and you don't want to tell anybody you have cancer or anything like that. But don't suffer alone. There are people that love you around you. That's why they're friends. That's why you have family around you, or whoever you have around you is somebody that cares for you, right? So, you know, get the strength from other people too. Let them know, hey, I'm going through this. I might need you.
Well, and remember, humans are wired to serve, to help. We need purpose. And
Mm,
so when you're going through something like I was, like you did, the people around you, they they want to be able to show you they love you. And some of them will and some of them won't, and that's okay. But letting people help you, letting people love you, that's also a gift you give them.
yeah.
Right? So
It's
I love the name of your show, and I am out there to reboot the mindset about cancer so that people see it as, a setback, but one that they have a voice, they have control, they have power, and oh, can they have love?
That is awesome, and I hope that it resonates with so many people out there. And you know who you are out there that are going through this, or family members. Check out the book. I'll let you know as I read through it and get some insights later on during the month. And but it's a great cause. It's a great thing you did, putting your personal life out there, letting know people what you went through, and then coming up with this guide. You didn't think about it when you started it. You never had an idea, but God had a plan already. And now look at all this time has passed, and you did it.
Yes, well, thank you. Like I said, I feel like I was kind of born to do it.
Mhm.
Right?
That's it.
And I'm very appreciative of my family members who are in the story, but also the other people, the other women who bravely shared their story with me and are represented in the book, because there's really different experiences.
Yes.
And I think it's important for people to see people they might resonate with, they might connect with, or, it won't all be like what it was for me. I mean, my mother, my sister, and I all had different experiences, and we all
Mhm.
have the same cancer from the same cause
Wow.
in the same breast. Like it's very same. And yet our journeys were different. and that's okay.
Oh, you're different people. That's why. So,
And
yep.
different times.
And different times. Yep. That makes a difference too, because the 60s versus the 90s versus now, it's a whole
Yep.
different story about technology. And I was going to mention, I know there's a lot of clinical trials out there. And I tell people there's some, you have to read them, but there's some clinical trials that are trying a new treatment or something. You can ask about them. And there's options out there for people that maybe don't have money too.
Absolutely. Well, one of the trials that I think is important, because any of the people listening, if they're female, can be in it. The Wisdom 2 trial is about screening and prevention. And so if you are a person with breasts or breast, and there's no cost to be in the trial, Wisdom 2. And, what they're really trying to understand is what is the right screening for each individual, given their genetics, their family history, their health, so that we don't try to do the same thing for everyone, because that's not, we're too individual
Yeah.
for that.
Yeah, we are. We're so different because we don't know what kind of food you consume, anything, whatever you intake, anything you intake, I think has a lot to do with it too. I mean, you had a gene, that was a specific gene, but some
Yes.
other people is different. They get cancer, who knows, different ways, but
No.
who knows exactly? Who knows? I always say just be mindful of what you consume, what you eat, what you drink, all that stuff too.
And at the end of the day, cancer is errant genes. Like their life is a terminal condition, and cancer happens to a lot of people. So try to live as healthy as you can, if not to prevent cancer, which would be great if you can, but to be as healthy and strong as possible when you face it, so that you can endure and obliterate it.
Exactly.
Right? And that goes for any health condition, right? If you keep yourself healthy, your ability to endure and recover is so much better. That alone should be motivation to be as healthy as possible.
Exactly. To prevent it or to battle it if it comes,
That's it.
That's it. And just being strong and perseverance and, life. Like I said one thing when I had the stroke, I had to make a decision. I need to live or die. I said to myself, what do I want? Do I want to continue living like this, debilitated, or am I going to get stronger and be able to walk correctly again and be able to move again? Because I had lost mobility, and I was able to do that. But it's and it's been a daily struggle, for years now. But at least I had that willpower, because I said, no, I'm still living. I still got life to live. I'm not going nowhere yet.
That's the right thing to do. That's the right thing to do. I had this major surgery, and they tell you can't do any intense exercise for 3 months. And I did ask the doctor, I said, can I ride an e-bike? And she said, after all of your sutures are out and all the drains are out, you can ride an e-bike as long as you really use the e-bike. I said, okay, I'll do that. But I got to my August 6th, my 3-month checkout, and I'm good. Right? My doctor sees me. She's happy. I'm recovered. And she says, you are cleared for anything. I said, anything. She said, anything. So 3 days later, I'm wakeboarding. Right? I'm wakeboarding. And I've been water skiing and skiing my entire life. So, it's August. I want to wakeboard. And it's also an FU to cancer. Like, look, I'm wakeboarding. Right? So I wakeboard and I take video. And I put the video in my chart to send to my doctor. And the first message I get back is from the nurse. What are you doing? That's that you had surgery and that's a little stress on your abdomen. And
you need to do anything.
You're right. You need to wait 3 months. And I wrote back and I said, I'm cleared. Well, the next message was from the surgeon.
Oh no.
Lady, you want to know what her message was?
What she say?
The whole thing. Ready? Woohoo!
That's what I would have done. Yep.
It was a woohoo. We all should be
Yeah.
woohooing. And I
Yeah.
wasn't crazy. I wasn't going to do that before she told me I was cleared because that would be stupid. But if I was cleared,
Then
I was
hey,
cleared. And, I'm, like I said, I've been doing this long enough that I know how to get up on a wakeboard without, pulling a
right.
muscle.
Yeah, you live in
Um,
California, you kidding?
and I grew up in New Jersey. I mean, like I've been on
Oh,
the
okay.
water my
You've
whole
been
life,
all over the place. Yeah.
my whole life. But, it is a woohoo, right? And,
Yeah.
you gotta do the things. If they say, if you are cleared to do, you do. What you had to do to relearn how to walk and how to use different body parts, I mean, that takes a tremendous amount of strength and resilience. And I say back to you, woohoo!
Thank you. The pool was my friend.
Sure.
That's the only way I could do at the time. At my aunt's house, she had a pool, so I would go there and do my exercises in the water because that's the only way you're, weightless. So I was able to move my arm and move my legs, and then I would get out. I was like stiff as a board. I go, I was just fine in the water, and I would come out. I couldn't move. I was in pain, but the water was the best place. So again, my happy place being out in South Florida, the weather was beautiful, got in the pool, it can't get better than that. So,
That's great. And ultimately, in the pool, you built the strength that you could do it on land.
yep.
And, we have to give ourselves the time and the grace, the patience,
Yes. Yes.
to come back. So one of the things I did, I did the wakeboarding, but I knew, I mean, I wasn't as strong as I was. And I said to my sister, who's a trainer, I
Mhm.
said, I would like for my birthday to be able to do a single unassisted pull-up. Right?
Mm,
It shows that I have strength. It's, and so she and the trainer who works for her put together a program for me for 6 weeks where I worked my way up to it. But on my birthday, I did do a single unassisted pull-up. I don't
yay.
think I've done that.
Woo!
Woo, right? I don't think I've done that since I was in high school. So,
Wow.
I think that we can build our strength. We can also give ourselves time to recover.
Mm. Well, that's my issue of I go, right? And I'm doing so much stuff that I don't give myself enough time until my body says, I'm going to shut you down myself. I always say God knocks me in the head and says, "You didn't listen to me, so now you're gonna go lie down for a while."
That's okay. So you lie down for a while,
Yep.
right? It's one of my superpowers is I can nap anywhere, anytime.
Yeah, that's true. That's why my husband gets upset when we go in the car. I said, "Can you drive me?" He said, "Don't you fall asleep." I'm like, "I'm
Yeah,
awake. I'm awake. How far?" And sometimes I'll stay awake, but other times that's my peace time. He's driving. I'm out.
right, right. No, I remember I used to have to fly from Boston to New York frequently, and I got very good. They start taxiing out. I go to sleep. We
Right.
land, I wake up. So nice little hour nap. And then I started traveling with young children. And,
Oh,
my whole body's like, oh, we're taxiing, go to sleep. Oh my God, I can't.
the
I
children.
have these people, these little people. And I had to fight falling asleep.
Oh, I know. They're like, "Mommy, wake up, mom." And you're like, "Ugh." I used to live in New York, so I used to take the railroad, the Long Island Railroad, from the
Uh-huh.
from Queens into the city, and going is okay if you fall asleep because you get to the end and all the noise
Yeah,
and you wake up. But when you're coming home, and on the Long Island Railroad they have the liquor, that liquor cart, so you can get a
right.
drink, which is the worst thing to do. You just gotta work and it's Fridays. You're like, I have a drink. Oh no. How
No.
many times did I not fall asleep and go to the end of Long Island and have to come back
Oh
again?
my God.
Yeah.
All the way out to the Hamptons?
No, all the way down to Port Washington.
Okay.
Yeah, so it
Wow.
wasn't too bad, but still. And then when you get off the train, the other train's already leaving, so you can't
Right.
get. So now you have to wait an hour or 2 hours, depends on what time it is. Oh, and those were the days I didn't drive. There was
Uh-huh.
no Uber. There was
Uh-huh.
no Uber.
Uh-huh.
We didn't have a cell phone back then. What are you talking about?
Right. It's just like, okay, this is like today, if I fall asleep when I'm taking like Amtrak or
Uh-huh.
I take the train, I literally set alarms because I'm like,
Oh.
I am not missing getting off this train.
Yeah, because you don't know where you land up there. Because over
No,
there, especially on the metro, you'll land up in another state or whatever, up in upstate New York or,
right. Like,
you
where
know,
am I? So,
exactly. That's the worst. Wake up. What's going on?
exactly. Exactly.
But anyway, we've been on here an hour. Thank you so much for your time. I don't want to keep you anymore.
Thank you, Alisa.
Looking forward to going through the book, and hopefully I'll gift it out to some people out there
I
who
would
have.
love that. I hope it helps a lot of people. Crushing the Cancer Curveball on Amazon exclusively January 28th.
January 28th. You heard it here first.
You
January
do it.
28th. I got my first copy, we have to put a little reminder out there so you can get the book on January 28th. So
Certainly
again,
do.
thank you, and have a great rest of this beautiful 2025 year.
May it be a year of blessings and health for you.
Thank you. Same to you. Bye
Bye.
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 So everybody, what an incredible day today. Oh, I lost myself. There we go. So great conversation. Like I said, I came back strong for the new year, and we did. And I think this is really, really helpful for so many people, for myself too, because you can take it, the different sections that she has, you can take it whatever you're going through. Like I'm a caregiver as well. So there's going to be points in there that I know I can use myself for what I'm going through and, helping other people. And, and knowing people that have cancer right now too. So, it's really sad. Some people have, and I forgot to ask her about that, but we talked about, of course, early stage getting diagnosed. Please go for your mammogram. There's a lot of, she mentioned some trials out there. I think the Wisdom 2 trial out there, so you can get your mammogram done. There's a lot of programs at your regular doctor, at the hospitals. They even have the mammo bus that comes on different areas, and they do free mammograms to really, really get you thinking. They're doing this for a reason, because so many people are getting breast cancer. So don't wait till last minute. If you have a little thing, like I just went recently to get my mammogram done, and I was like, I don't need it. I went already. I don't have anything, and I go, all right, I'll go. So I went, and they said, oh, we see a little something. And then I was a little concerned, and they made me wait a couple of days. So I'm like, oh my gosh, the anxiety of thinking I have something. But I really didn't believe I did, because the last time when it happened 25 years ago, it was nothing. It was like a little fat ball or something. It wasn't anything malignant. So thank goodness that happened. But so this time when it came up, yeah, I got a little concerned. I was a little concerned. And but I said, I don't really believe I have that, and I'm just going to pray that it's nothing. And that's exactly what happened. So I'm really happy about that. And I did go. So, as we get older too, you need to keep checking more often. And if you have any history in your family, they advise that you go on a yearly basis, and just check your breasts, and check your breasts yourself. You're in the shower, touch your breasts. Touch your breasts. You have to, they tell you lift your arm up, and then you start touching your breasts while you're in the shower. You lift up your arm all the way. You go all the way around the breast, and you feel around the nipple, all around your breast. And if you feel anything, a bump, a hard ball, something, then go, wait a second. That's not supposed to be there. Not supposed to be anything in there. You shouldn't feel anything in there. So please do that, ladies, young girls, please. I even heard there's men that have breast cancer as well. So sometimes men have to check. Some men have, I forgot what it's called, that have like that glands or their breasts develop a little bit more. Okay. So you have to be careful too. There is men breast cancer as well. So just some little tips. And I believe that once you get her book, you'll have even more tips to help you out there. And again, I'm not an expert. I'm not a doctor. I just give like lifetime experience, things that we talk with other people. I think that's the best way sometimes to learn, because they experienced it. Like Joelle talked about having the side effect chart, which I thought was really good, because there's some medicines I've gone through it, taking medication, and then you're getting all these weird side effects. And so that's a good thing to check, because some medicines aren't good for you. Your stomach is too irritated, or you get diarrhea, you get vomiting. I mean, there's all these different things. If you get profusely like that, you can't take that medicine. Like some people were allergic to penicillin, and they used to get. My son got like all this huge rash on his body after he got penicillin. So there's different things out there. So you always have to watch that stuff. And the doctors usually tell you, you've seen it on TV. Unfortunately, when you hear medication, they go, and the side effect is, and they keep going, right? And there's like a whole long list. And they put it there because somebody out there experienced it, right? It's not saying that all 1,000 people have it, but it could be one person was, different. So that's why they put all the side effects on. But it's a key to make sure that the medicine works for you. So again, just preventative. Please go get your mammogram. Most of the time, insurance is covered automatically. If you have insurance, it's a standard thing. They say, oh, mammogram, fine. Colon cancer, like anything kind of cancer detecting, they usually cover those tests, because it costs so much money to treat a person with cancer, and the resources it takes. So I don't think anybody wants to go through expense or time or anything like that. So preventative is most important for anything. I go and get my blood work done every 3 months. Make sure anything's changed, right? And just do preventative stuff just to stay on track. So it's all I can do. I'm not getting any younger. Actually, I have a birthday coming up February. I'm going to be 60. Shh, don't tell anybody. Can't believe it. I made it up to this number. But I'm blessed that I'm here, and I'm very grateful that I'm here. So I just want to wish again everybody Happy New Year. And I will see you next Tuesday. Don't forget, we got some other shows. Tomorrow, Wednesday, we do our Spanglish interviews with salsa artists on Wednesdays, and then on Thursdays we have our freestyle showcase podcast that also features different artists, and that's under our Spanglish Entertainment brand, which now Rebooted is under that brand as well. So that's our other, and also our January edition of Spanglish Magazine is out already, so check it out. Some great articles. I got Willie Panama, salsa artist, on the cover, and also Angel, the original cover girl, is on the cover. So you can learn a little about her life in freestyle and salsa, and there's always entertainment stuff in there. So anyway, I wish you a great year, and we'll see you next Tuesday. Bye. Let's see if I can get all my stuff here. Here we go. The program I'm using decided to change just when I came in today, and I go, what happened? What are you talking about? Like, what is all this stuff that I don't know? And look, I can't even find my other banner. Oh, well, we'll just leave today. Bye.